Okay, so the question was, there's lazy artists and the Chinook artist. They're not associated with any albums. So we want to write a query that's going to find all of those artists that don't have any albums, sort them alphabetically, A through Z, and rename the column title to lazy artist. The first thing, I'm just going to join two tables together. Opened up a SQL tab here off the Chinook database. We'll just select everything for right now from, so we have I want to join the artist to the album table. So artist, I'll abbreviate AR, and I'll join album. I'll abbreviate it AL. I got to join it on the primary foreign key pair. So AR dot artist ID is equal to AL dot artist ID. So I'm not wanting to autocomplete. Oh well. I'll just go ahead and start off by hitting up F5. I misspelled album, that's why. I added an A to the end of it. That doesn't seem right. You should have gotten a bunch of rows. Unexpected server response to something happened. Servers not thinking correctly today. I'll restart it. Let's see if that. Okay, there we go. I just had to restart my server. So we got 347 rows of information. So with this type of join, there has to be a value in both columns. So the artist ID number 1 right here also has to be in the album table with the number 1 too. But if there's a artist that's not associated with an album, then there's not going to be 2 numbers that match up. So it's not going to show those artists. And that's where we get into probably stuff out of a later chapter. And I put a hint in here to left join as a possibility, as long as you put artist first. So if I left join this, that means I want to see everything in the artist table. I want to see everything on the left side of the join statement, whether it has a matching in the album table or not. So that's how I can determine if I want to use left or right here. So if I swap them, if I put album and then artist, then I'd have to use a right join. So left or right is going to be determined on which table you want to see everything out of, no matter what, whether it matches or not. So I want to see all the artists, even if they don't match the album table. So that's why I want to left join it. So I want to see everything on the left side of the join. So I'll go ahead and add this left in here. And if you rerun this, you'll end up with a lot more rows. 71 more rows to be exact. 418 rows will show up. So as I scroll, I'll start noticing that I have null values. So if I'm not associated with an album, pretty much every column in that album is gonna be null. I can use a where statement to narrow down and only show the artists that have no album associated with it. So which of these columns would I want to write the where statement? I could probably write it on any of the three columns in the album ID, title, or artist ID. Probably want to stick with the album ID as the primary key. If it's null, then, and I know primary key is automatically a not null value. I don't know for certain. I'd have to look at the way they wrote the album table's title, if it was nullable or not. So I probably want to choose a column here that's at a not null value to write my where statement against. So where the AL dot album ID is null. So I'm getting close. I've now got it down to 71 rows. On this. So that's pretty neat. The last thing I need to make sure that there's two more things. They're not in order. And I don't have a single column listed called lazy artist. So because the select statement's one of almost the last thing, order is the very last thing executed. But now I'm going to come up here to select statement once that I've got my query done correctly, and I'm going to select a single column up here, so replacing the asterisk with the ar.name as, and I want it to be listed as lazy artist. So I selected a single column, and then I renamed it using the as keyword. Last thing in the question was to have the results in alphabetical order. So the order by is the last thing that's run. And right now it gets its output from the select statement. So if I'm looking at my output, my column is now called lazy artist. So I want to order this lazy artist right here. So that's what keyword I'm going to use up here. Lazy artist. It said it needed to be in alphabetical order. That is the default with order by. So I have A through Z in alphabetical order. The only time that you need to specify anything is if you want it in reverse order. You want it in descending order, you could write descending abbreviated at the end, and it would go from Z to A. In this case, Y to A. But we wanted an alphabetical order, so we didn't need to do anything other than order by and the column name. So again, display only the name and the unit price. Should be quick and easy to do on the track table. So just putting name and unit price and executing fixes that. The number of rows, I'm going to have to hit my double right arrows to figure out that there's I guess there's just 1,000. In fact, there should be more than that.
At the next page. Yeah, right there.
Go to last page. There we go. Up at the top. Go to last 3,003. So I was using the wrong arrow. So the arrow at the top, I forgot which arrow it was. Go to last page arrow. So 3,503. Okay, I want you to rework this select statement. And I want you to figure out how many items are $1 or more. So how many are $1 or more? Okay, so you got 213 rows. So did you write it like where unit price, or did you where not unit price?
I just have to where unit price is greater than
less than $1. So he didn't write it that way because that's not something you'd probably think to do. Do I still get the right answer? So I did a negative there. So you probably wrote it where unit price. Did you do it like that? Or did you do it like that?
You can do it like that, or you can just do greater than 99 cents.
So I can write it that way. I can where I don't want to see any values less than $1. So the unit price is not less than $1. You could write it where it's greater than or equal to $1. You could also where is it greater than 99 cents? That would include $1. And I could use another knot up here. Could even do it like that. So there's at least 4 different ways that I could write the where statement and still get the same answer. I would probably suspect that these two would be the two that most people would look at writing. And actually, I'd probably suspect that is the most common one. But if you heard the question, I want to see everything that's $1 or more, it's probably what I would expect to see somebody write out, is that it's greater than or equal to $1. That includes $1 or more. Although all 4 of those are correct answers. So that's interesting. If all 4 of those are correct answers. Which one did you write? Wade said he did, I think this one. Did anybody else write something different than the bottom one? Or did everybody write basically the bottom one? So you did that one? Common Core math. Common Core, that they allow you to figure out your own method, or they're supposed to. They're supposed to show you like 15 different ways to work a problem and think about a problem. I didn't do Common Core either, but I've seen a little bit of it. I don't know about up in algebra and stuff, but I seen the kindergarten Common Core and thought, well, that's not terrible. Why is everybody complaining about this? So it showed like all the different methods you could possibly see a problem on how to work it. You pick the one that you understood. I was like, hey, that sounds pretty good. Why not do math the way that you understand it? But there you go. That's I just thought 4 different ways to get the same answer. I just thought of making fun of Common Core if anybody went through that. Anybody go through Common Core? No?
I think I did.
To be honest, I'm not even sure what common core or common core is.
It's, well, anyway, from kindergarten stuff, it looked like regular math. It just like showed you a whole bunch of different ways you could look at adding and subtracting stuff.
It's stupid.
So, I mean, some of it looks stupid, but some of it like, hey, that's the way I used to do it.
Well, you figure sure they have 2 + 2 equals fish.
Yeah. I never seen anything like that in the
When you
actual
turn sideways.
Common Core.
Sideways is good.
So I'll show you this for a particular purpose, because on your next test, they'll be asking you to come up with a where statement, or they'll be asking you to select which where statement will give the correct answer. They'll have a problem and it'll ask you for displaying some type of unit price. It's not going to be 99 cents or $1 or whatever. It'll be some type of unit price, and they'll show you like 4 or 5 different where statements and tell you to check which ones would give you the right answer. So you're also going to have to think that I could get the right answer by eliminating wrong answers, or I could get the right answer by selecting just the right answers. There's 2 ways of doing that.
I'm more than yours.
Eliminating the wrong answers using not.
Or we'll just in general. Get rid of the wrong.
Choosing the people to be on your team and then eliminating the others by execution. Go really morbid. That's a joke. Don't do that. But whatever helps you think about this problem, though, that's what Common Core is supposed to be anyway. This isn't Common Core. This is just, it's equal in different ways that you could possibly write it. Can anybody think of another way to write this and still get 213? I think that's about it. Just to be using only a where statement. Let's come up with another one. So list all the tracks with the price less than 1, and the name starts with the letter A. You might not know how to do the letter A start with yet, but you should be able to get most of it. Maybe the last two words you might not get, but you'll get the, should be able to get most of it. And you can also just list the name and unit price column instead of everything. You don't need to list all the other This time we're doing it less than $1 instead of greater than $1. So you should have been able to just basically change your greater than, less than, that you did before, to get everything that was less than $1. But the other part of this, with the name starting with the letter A, what did you do past this point? What's the next word I typed in? If I just put space, it tells me by just random chance. Has the word and up there. Now, what's the next word do I need to type besides tray?
Name.
Name. So I hope you got at least that far. That was my hope, that you at least got to that point. Now, the last two words I said you might not get. So we've used the word like for a text string. On my quiz, I'm just going to use numeric. So you're only going to have to worry with greater than, less than, equal to, stuff like that, if you're between multiple columns. But this particular example, I don't think I had another column with the number in there to mess with. Use the word like if I'm doing text strings. And text strings are always within single quotation marks. And I know the letter A. And at this point, you might think that might be correct, or maybe a star or something. And to this point, that you've not been taught what means everything in SQL. Would be a percent sign. A percent sign, I don't know why they didn't use asterisk. ASCII character number 42, the answer to everything, life, the universe, and everything. I don't know why they didn't use that. They used the percent sign in SQL. So that's kind of weird.
They wanted special.
They just, so that's how that you would write. So this part right here, I didn't expect everybody to get, but I hope that you got at least that part. So if I execute this, there's 192 rows, items that are less than $1 and start with the letter A. Okay, which one of these that I'm circling in blue, that's probably hard to see? Can you, what is the order of operation? What is read first? What is executed first? Anybody? Select from or where?
Is it the from?
From is executed first. What is executed second? No. So if select isn't executed second, somebody else can give me the correct answer probably. James. Where? And what is executed last? The select statement is executed last. The order of operation is going to be something that's on the next exam, which I'm thinking, I don't know what I'm thinking on the next exam. Okay, so I'm going to circle some more up here. Okay, so pick another color, maybe that color. Is that color? Yeah, color is easy to see. Okay, so what's executed first? From is executed first. What second again? Where is executed third. Second. What did I put the 3 there? 2. Let's just scribble that out and write a 2. There we go. That's better. Okay, what's executed third?
Select.
Select. Yes. Select is executed third in this case. What's executed last? Well, there's order by is executed last. So from is always read first in any of your select statements. It's not written first, but it's always read in first. From, where, group by, having, select, and then order by. So that was in chapter 8 on a particular page number. That shows you the correct order of operation, I think. Or was it chapter 7? Chapter 8's inserting data. Chapter 7. 151. From where, group by, having, select, order by. That's the order of operation. You will be given a random 5 or 6 different so there's 6 different main select statement commands. From where, group by, having, select, order by. You're going to have 5 of them listed in a multiple choice answer, and it's going to ask you like which one's executed first, or it may ask you which one's executed last. It's pretty easy to pick the one that's executed first. It'd be from. But if I only give you 5 of the 6 and I tell you which one's executed last, you're probably going to have to pick. Well, it'd be pretty simple. It'd be select. That's the 5th one in the list. But if all 6 are listed, order by be executed last. Because I have some other questions that have you specify what order. If you have select from where, and it may ask you you know, which one's executed. You may have to put a 1, 2, or 3 beside. Why is it important to know order of operation? Same thing in math. If you don't do order of operation, you're going to come up with the wrong answer. You see all these Facebook challenges where they put up a math problem like, what's the answer to this? And everybody's coming up with different answers because they don't follow the order of operation. They're doing parentheses and exponents and multiplication, division, add, subtract. They don't do them in the right order. So knowing the correct order helps you develop your statement so that you can get what information you need out of the database. And if you've noticed, when I did this one, I started with just select star. I did not create my select statement until after I got the from and where in there. Then I went back and fixed my select statement because I know that's one of the last ones to run. And another reason for that is look down here. I've abbreviated the tables. So I couldn't really write my select statement until I knew what I was going to abbreviate with first. So knowing order of operation should help out understanding how these things are generated and read into the system. Also on page 151, I think it was also in your review questions. Which select statement commands are required? There's only 2 of them out of the 6. Select and from. Those are the only 2 required. All the others are optional. I can select everything from a table. I don't have to put where, I don't have to put order by, I don't have to group. I don't have to put having. Let's, do you have a HackerRank site? So I told y'all to create a HackerRank account. I don't get spam too much from them. I get an email every so often, like a challenge, like, why don't you try this problem? Which you could sign up using if you don't want to use your personal or whatever. You could sign up with your student email address.
I would recommend doing that because after like 6 months of not doing anything, the emails pick up.
Of course, you can probably always go in and change your preferences and stuff, I'm sure. So I want to go through some of these as practice to help reinforce some of the stuff in chapter 7. So I'm still debating on if I want to give that quiz on Monday or not. I do have a doctor's appointment on Monday. So I'm also contemplating about just giving you the password to the quiz and letting you take it at home, or if you've got the 10 o'clock class, I should be here about 10 o'clock for land. You never know with doctors, but normally since it's an early appointment, you normally don't have anybody ahead of you to like make you wait 4 or 5 hours. So I'm probably going to be here about 9:30, I would think, between 9:30 and 10. But for this class on Monday, that may be what I do is you can just use like open book for the quiz, since I have to be out, since we had all the snow and everything, power outages, internet problems. I might do something like that on Monday. So I'll talk a little bit more about that on Friday I got kind of get a feel of how y'all are understanding. So you want to go and do your SQL. And I want to find some problems for SQL in here. So do you see the first? So we see revising select query number 1. Wade, you've got red on your screen.
Yeah, I couldn't remember my password because it was in my actual laptop, so
Ah,
I
okay.
took my laptop out.
So let's go ahead and just run through. Actually, let's take a break and we'll start running through. The first 3 should be pretty quick to do. Let's take a little bit of a break. Revising the select statement. This one's pretty simple. The first one, query all columns for all American cities with populations larger than 100,000. And the country code for US or for America is USA. So I already showed you this one the other day. I'm going to select it as an Oracle instead of MySQL one. We select in name, query all columns. Star, okay. From city. The main thing here, they're running you the where statement. So query all columns for all American cities. So I'm going to search for country code first. So country code like USA. Query all columns, so it's select star from the city table. They have to be American. American is USA. So country code like USA. And the populations has to be larger than 100,000. Don't say equal to, it says larger than 100,000. So 100,000 to 1 or greater. So I can just use a greater than symbol on the population So you would have to use an and operator here with population greater than 100,000. You run your code. You should get a congratulations on that, and then you can submit it to submit your answer. So that one I'd already showed before. I see some red. It should be uppercase. Greater than.
Okay, I just wanted to.
Yeah, it has to be single quotes. Yeah, and then you should be able to click on the next challenge. And I don't think it took me to the actual next challenge. Should it take you to revising the select query number 2? So you're querying the name field for all American cities in the city table. With populations larger than 120,000. So I want you to list only the name column this time, not all of them. Everything else pretty much the same except 120,000. See if you can get a correct answer on that. Once you get a correct answer, then you can submit the code. Yeah. Oops. Greater than. So I hope everybody got that one. The select all one is a super easy one. So your next challenge is a select all. There is no where limiting or anything. That one should be very quick to do. And then go ahead and go on to the select by ID. What is the city name? Or the select by ID? What country? So we're going to stop at this one once you get the select by ID complete. So hopefully you found that's out of Japan. You ever been to Japan or just your dad?
So much for that.
Has anybody been outside the country? No? Been to Canada,
When COVID ends the month, I'm sure we can do that.
the Bahamas, Belize, Mexico, and Honduras. Extremely cultured, even though it was just tourist sites that I went to that had Americans in it. But
My brother lived in
okay, so the select by ID should have been quick and easy to grab. Select everything from city where ID equals the number they gave you, 1661. So I said we wanted to stop on that one. I want to go into some insert statements. I want to put some stuff into our chicken farm. So I want you to, in your Visual Studio Code, once you've got your chicken farm database definitions defined, towards the bottom of this, I want us to add some insert statements so that if we do make changes to our database, if we drop it and recreate it, we'll have the insert statements to re-put the data into the chicken farm database. So I want us to add some breeds into the chicken farm. We're going to do name, egg color, yield, egg size. The breeds I want you to look up are, I want to put the 10, probably the 10 most common chicken breeds, is to store those into the database, so we have something there when we add our flock or anything later on. We'll have breeds in our system. So I want you to Google, look up the information for those and create your insert statements that you'll be inserting into your breeds table. The name, which was given to you, the egg color, I guess light brown or multi, the yield, which is number of eggs laid per year, and whether it's small, medium, large, extra large eggs. So you should be able to Google each one of those and create your insert statements for that. Okay, so once that you've got your inserts created, if you do a select on your breeds table, you should have breed ID from 90,000 to 90,009 with all of the chicken names, the egg color. Most of them are browns. We got 2 whites. I got a cream in there. We did have to shrink the brown down to not put light brown and just put brown for any of them. The egg size, most are large. The last 3, small, medium, small. The yields were different on almost all of them. A couple were at 280. And most of the yields were different. So you should have ended up with that, being able to do insert statements. And this will allow us to, having this information and put it in will allow us to do some more practice with inserts, developing our flock table. We'll be able to show some different examples that are talked about in chapter 8, but we've not been able to actually implement yet. Okay, so the code, what my code looked like was I did insert into breeds. And because I wasn't going to include every single column, because my primary key is built into the table to auto generate, I decided to go ahead and put parentheses and list out the columns that I was going to put data into and not deal with the other one. You could have not put the parentheses there and instead put the keyword default in front of Worpington, and that would have worked too. So there's two different ways you could have wrote the select statement on this. But just looking at breeds as an example, like we have that default value there. So two possible ways. This is the other way that you could have wrote the statement. So those two right there are equivalent to each other. So one of them doesn't include the column names. The other one does include the column name, but and there's some rules here that we got to remember. We'll review that on Friday too. And if you're doing the second option, everything was a not null, so we had to put a value for every single one. There were some rules that wouldn't apply to this particular insert because of the not nulls. So yes, what I did, I created my first insert statement and then I copied and pasted it 10 times. Then I started copying the breed, searching for the breed, pasting the breed over it, and then typing out whatever was different, which was typically on a lot of them was simply the yield. Until I got down towards the bottom, and we started having different egg sizes and different colors. And sometimes putting data into the database would reveal something that it's good to throw some sample data in there, because if we really needed light brown in there, we needed to increase the size of our varchar. Probably. Yep. Or if we decide that we're just going to do white, brown, green, cream, or something like that, or multi, we have to decide what do we really need. So we're going to keep it simple and just eliminate light brown. Anything that's brown is going to be brown color, because that's what we decided. But your customer may need something different. So
That's chicken costs $200.
this many?
Yeah.
I'll be fair, Sylvan's gonna be a what, 3 or 4? Is it
Solid black.
what color they are?
Yeah. I've talked to since I raise some chickens, talked to a few people that's what they make a lot of money on. They make the money on the rare ones.
That's just $200 for a chick. They cost up to $2,500 for an adult.
Yeah, yeah. Some people make some bank on these, but looking at that one, 80 eggs a year, that's very small lay rate. They're small, but yeah, if you could breed those out. Did it say white?
Egg color, it says white, but
I guess that's. I don't know. There's probably the subtype of Samani. I guess that's how you pronounce it.
the meat, internal organs are also cooked. I didn't know I was gonna learn so much about chickens and that was class. It's fun.
Yeah. So you learned something. The black eggs are fake, it says. They're fake pictures. So, okay. So we're database class isn't to learn about chickens, learn about the database thing. But if you're developing a database, this is why that's sometimes coders and stuff, I see them complain that they're having to take other classes like world history and science classes. Like, why do I need to take all this other BS stuff? Because I'm going to be coding and doing computer stuff. I'm like, well, if you don't have a real rounded, well, what's your customer need? Your customer's not computer. You're developing stuff for real world things that the customer needs. I mean, you got to have all the technical skills, but you got to have more than that. So, you know, if you do develop databases, you may need to go study up on what data. You're going to have to go through lots of meetings and stuff and learn about. If you're developing for a chicken farm, you're going to have to learn a lot about chickens so you know how to develop your database. You're likely not probably going to create a chicken database out in the real world, but you may create one for research purposes. You know, Pfizer, you may go work for a company like that and have to start studying about entomology and maybe take some medical classes so you understand what they're needing. So, I mean, they'll tell you, but sometimes you have to learn more than just try to sit there and listen to them. You got to learn from them, but doing some extra research on your own